Hey, I'm Whitney Watson. This is Project 16. My group has decided to do the pros and cons of blogging, web podcasts, and Wikipedia. And then this is the use of blogging in education by me, Whitney Watson. Okay, blogging. A blog is a website or a part of a website where someone can update information about a particular topic and others are able to view it. It is like a personal online journal. People can leave a trail of information, pictures, videos, and links to other sites or videos. Okay, there's many advantages to blogging. It's easily accessible. You can access it anywhere that you have a computer or you can get on the internet. It's very organized. It's in reverse chronological order. Therefore, your latest post is at the bottom and your most recent post is at the top. Um, it's all more than likely going to be a student's best work because they know other people are going to be able to view it. Therefore, they want to publish what they can do best. It's individualized. You can create it to look however you would like. So this makes it good to look at because you're not just looking at a bunch of information on a blank page. And you can share ideas as well as view ideas from other people, and it's interactive because you can always leave comments on other people's ideas. And there's only two disadvantages. The requirements are that you have to have a computer and internet, which not every student may be able to afford, or schools might not be able to provide them to each student. And then understanding that a blog is someone's opinion, not necessarily always hard facts. And then, so in my opinion, blogging is a great way for students to be creative and get more involved in the subject matter. They can enjoy posting their work for others to see. I think that if a student is able to see what others say and view the work of their classmates, they will be inspired to do better each time they post. Blogging in education should be a requirement in school so that every student can get the chance to create their own personal digital footprint. I love blogging. And these are my sources, and Brandon, you're up next.
My name is Brandon Hastings, and I've chosen to do the pros and cons of Wikipedia. It's one of the largest encyclopedias. It's an online free encyclopedia. Is it a blessing or a curse, though? It's pros. It has a few, but one I chose is an unending source of pop culture. You can find album covers that whenever you transferred your CDs to iTunes, it didn't give them for some reason. Lots of celebrity gossip, reviews of movies and games. You can also get directors' reviews on there, people, just about everything. You're able to search in almost every single language known to man. And when any information you believe is entered in correctly, you can create your own free profile and edit the information. Cons. A lot of times the mass of people who edit this information don't know it. I have personally seen a history thing be 800 years off. And there's no requirement to cite the sources you get it from. It's recommended, but there's no requirement to. And the many facts are presented incorrectly. It tends to be very objective, not subjective. You could go on and look up Islam, and there would be quite a few people siding with the Christians in the American way over learning what the Islam actually had. And a big problem that teachers seem to have is students believe that Wikipedia, being so large and everybody knows it, you can cite it as an academic source. And whenever we as teachers say, no, it's not an academic source, you can't do that, the students become very upset and start to think that we don't know what we're talking about. And so they lose trust in what we say. What I truly think, the pros, once again, is a great source of up and coming pop culture. Every album since the invention of album covers is on there. I've used it quite a few times myself on that. There are occasionally citations that are good. So you can go there and say, go to the very bottom and see all these sites, and some of them are good, some of them are not. It's very well organized. Um, and as I said, it's in every single language known to man. Cons, once again, there's not a lot of credibility. And there are too many people involved. And most of them are not academic. So, what do I finally say in the classroom? No Wikipedia. And here are the two sources I used. Thank you very much. And now we have podcasts with Megan coming up.
Hi, my name is Megan Torres, and for Project 16, I am doing the advantages and disadvantages of podcasting in the classroom. What exactly is a podcast? Living in the digital age that we do, we've all heard this word thrown around like it is nothing. Podcast. So what exactly is it and how does it relate to your life? A podcast is the combination of the words broadcast and iPod and can be listened to on a variety of MP3 devices. It's a new way of listening to radio content or even talk shows, and is much more geared towards the listener. The best thing about podcasts is anyone can create them and they can be streamed to the entire world. Websites are now promoting podcasts and it is a new way of getting information out into the public. Podcasts and education. What was covered, how exactly would an educator go about utilizing a podcast in the classroom? Firstly, the best thing about podcasts is that they can be accessed on computers at any given time. Meaning if you are a teacher who actively podcasts in your classroom and post them almost immediately, students who are out sick won't miss important information. Students can share information across a wide range of topics. Not only that, but they can use the world as an audience and feedback board. With iTunes U, lectures from universities all over are recorded and posted for people to access, meaning you can enhance your learning environment at South Alabama by listening to podcasts from professors across the U.S. Advantages. Podcasts allow for the self-evaluation and peer editing of work in the classroom. This is important as receiving a grade from a teacher is different than receiving feedback from a peer. The student's voice is out there. Their thoughts are on the internet, and for all intents and purposes, they are being published. Essentially, you are building a personal learning network of your own podcast, which is important for people of all ages. Lastly, as we saw with the Eagle's Nest Radio, it is a good way to get the entire class involved with a project. You are evaluating each student on what they contributed, and you know they are coming away with valuable information. Disadvantages of podcasts in education. With it being online, anyone can publish anything. This means before allowing students to listen to podcasts, they would need to be checked by the teacher, which can lead to it being very time-consuming. Another problem is that there are tons of podcasts available, so it would be hard to narrow down the choices, unless you use something like iTunes U, where you can actually search education, be prepared for a lot of work. There's also the problem of needing a quiet environment if you wanted to record your own. With a classroom full of 20 to 30 noisy children, how successful will you be in creating a quality podcast? Lastly, my opinion, I believe that podcasts are a great tool to use. They are also a fantastic way to enhance the learning of your students. Instead of the same old boring routine every day, students have the opportunity to have fun with their lessons and share the information they've learned with people around the world. It also connects people around the world. You could be sitting on one side listening to a podcast done by a classroom in Mobile. It opens students up to something they did not even know they even existed. And here are my sources. And thank you. That has been Project 16.